from Kerala, where there have been widespread allegations of sexual abuse against priests. There is shock and anger in Kerala over the rising incidents of sexual abuse by priests and pastors. Over a dozen priests have now been arrested in the last 1 year from churches in Kerala for several sexual abuse allegations. Churchgoers are now protesting, demanding reforms. The bail application of the priests is likely to be heard in the Kerala High Court today. Sneha Merikoshi brings you this ground report on how the recent cases of allegations of rape cannot be seen in isolation.
Church, where people come to seek peace and safety, but many churches in Kerala are at the center of a controversy from where are emerging allegations of sexual abuse and rape against priests. We bring you this reality check. Two women, a 46-year-old nun and a 34-year-old teacher, along with her husband, have told the National Commission of Women their horrendous ordeal of being allegedly sexually abused, raped repeatedly by their own priests from their churches, sending shockwaves. The nun from a Roman Catholic church told the police that she was sexually abused 13 times between 2014 to 2016 by Jalandhar Bishop Dr. Franco Mullakkil in Kottayam and Jalandhar.
Who is the accused is a highly linked person with politics in Punjab and here too. And that's why the police is also not working on this case and taking a lot of time. That's what she's told me.
It is extremely painful as well as shameful. Perhaps it is a sorry situation in which the church has ended. I cannot tell you exactly what has happened in Jalandhar, because there are allegations and counter allegations. The bishop is accused of sex offences, and the sister is also accused similarly in the situations.
Bishop Mullakkil has been booked by the Kerala police for rape on June 28th. In the second case, based on a complaint from the Malankara Syrian Orthodox Church in Pathanamthitta, 3 priests have been booked for rape, 1 for molestation, after they even allegedly blackmailed the woman on the basis of her confessions. While few churches we reached out to in Kerala have refused to share data about priests being probed for allegations of sexual abuse under them, in last 1 year, at least 13 priests and pastors have been arrested by Kerala police on allegations of sexual abuse and rape against them. Shocking and horrifying for the church. Angry, some believers are now demanding to do away with the ritual of confessing to priests and calling for reforms.
Confess, because that's a part of our religion. Ladies should be protected while performing this sacrament. Otherwise, it will lead to a large number of problems as we have seen. But my suggestion is that even nuns can be permitted to perform this holy sacrament. That is my first suggestion.
Sister Jesme, who is a survivor of sexual abuse by a priest in Bangalore and recounts it in her autobiography, says nothing has changed since she left the congregation a decade ago in disgust.
Nasty things are happening inside the church. So slowly they are deriving courage in order to come out with the real events. The church only wants to hide things and then keep up their dignity. The sins, the crimes, all things can occur, but nobody should know it out. The outside people, the public shouldn't know. So the church always protects not the victim, but the aggressor. That's why the aggression is continuing.
Church insiders allege many cases of abuse still go unreported.
We can see more sexual abuses are reporting in the community, in the society, and in different places. And the church is not an exemption for that. We are taking serious measures to cope with this.
A shame the church can't close its eyes to anymore. With camera person SP Babu, Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
And Sneha Merikoshi is now joining me for more on this. Sneha, from your report, it's quite clear that there have been several attempts in the past to actually hide the facts from the public, and also that there are many cases like these that are actually underreported or not reported ever.
Well, that's right. In fact, one of the challenges is that these cases are not reported because of various reasons. One is, of course, the stigma of purity, of religious reasons, of the sanctity of priests and church that many followers believe in. And second, of course, is about how this would lead to excommunication perhaps, or the church just getting against them. But joining us right now are two eminent people from Kerala, Mr. Paul Zechariah, he's a writer, and Sonia George, she's an activist and she's also a daughter of a priest. Well, first to you, sir. Church argues, and those who believe in the church argue, that these are just isolated cases. But we have gone through data and statistics over the last several months, 18 months, and at least 13 priests have been arrested. We're not even getting to cases filed, we're talking about arrests. Is this isolated?
I wouldn't say so, because I think, see, the Catholic priesthood plus priesthood in the Catholic, in the Christian church as a whole, it's an ocean, and it's very hard to keep track of, so strictly to sort of enforce the discipline of celibacy. Especially celibacy is a very, very emotional and human, and it's full of holes and weaknesses. So I am sure these are not isolated cases, but that's only to be expected. In an institution like this, of institution like priesthood, it's humanly impossible for, you recruit young people and then they are free to operate as they want. So it is, it's a matter of how that person can take celibacy, you see.
Let me just ask Ms. Sonia here at this point. He says it's expected, but for most like you who believe in God, who believe in perhaps an institution or many followers, it's actually a sham. It's a shame that something like this is happening in church. We've gone through details, and there are minors, there are 10 years old, 13 years old, there are minors who have been impregnated by priests, who have been boys and girls who have been abused, raped by priests. You have women who have been married women for that matter. So where do you see this go forward? Is the church doing enough to stop this, to actually see that this doesn't happen? Is the church taking measures?
First of all, I would like to say that the whole entire structure is very hierarchical and patriarchal. Nobody till today questioned that hierarchy and patriarchy, and nobody dared to do that. That's the main problem that the church is facing always. So as you were saying, the question of celibacy, how it is being defined within the church, and how people are seeing the concept of holiness, So that is where this whole confession and holy and mediator role and all is coming. So the priest is supposed to be the mediator. That is what the people believe. But many years, the Protestant belief have changed that whole notion of mediatorship, and now they are open mode.
So do you think, is that a check? Is there any way that there is a check in the system on priests, on holiness, on what is happening within the church? Is there a system?
Exactly. There are always nationally and internationally debates happening on different kinds of theologies. What should the church should follow, and what kind of faith the church should follow, and there are open debates on. Even we can see even the Pope himself, he is addressing certain things, which are very...
Yes, the Pope went ahead and he actually said, he spoke about how sexual abuse of minors, he spoke about minors specifically, needs to stop. He tried to address us, but clearly even after that, arrests have been happening, instances have been reported.
Yeah, so those kind of attempts at least, shake some of the the strong roots of believers, and also this whole notion of celibacy, and that is actually started, but beyond that the belief plays a great role. That is where people have been playing left and right, and this kind of exploitation is happening within that structure itself.
Right. So the two victims, or if I may say survivors, whom we spoke, whose families we spoke to the National Commission of Women, who met them. Now they say that they were extremely scared to bring this out. One is a bold nun, the other is a teacher in class 12th, student of class 12th, and they say they're extremely scared of how this would unfold for their family, of how they would be able to get out of it. So really fear, not even an exception in church.
You know, the church is especially in Kerala, it's a very powerful, very strong social institution. And most of the believers are in it, maybe up to a point for spiritual reasons, hoping that after death they will, get to a place they will be happy, etc., etc. But essentially the church in Kerala acquires its influence and power from being a social institution that has penetrated all areas of society and family life especially.
To control.
To control, the believer contributes to that. The believer is happy that he has a place to baptize his children, he has a place to marry their children off, and a place to get buried when you are
So
dead.
to get clean of all these abuses is not something that the church has space for?
No, the church has to reform. To get clean of I am sure the church must have been trying hard to get maybe for centuries to do this. But it's not, as I said, it's not very easy. It's not easy.
Okay, it's not easy. Today, the anticipatory bail of priests who have applied for that anticipatory bail in this particular sexual abuse case of a 34-year-old woman will be heard. We'll see whether that will be given or not, but definitely something that the church is really struggling with.